We, the members of the Polk County Sheriff's Office, are committed to excellence in providing law enforcement, detention, and public safety services. In partnership with our community, we will serve with integrity, compassion, accountability, and professionalism. March 2, 2023. Self-proclaimed rapper and gang member Ladarian Chandler, charged with first-degree murder. On Tuesday, February 28, 2023, Polk County Sheriff's homicide detectives charged 19-year-old Ladarian Chandler, DOB February 10, 2004, of Lakeland, with first-degree murder in the shooting death of a 33-year-old Lakeland man, whom Chandler shot in December 2022. The victim died several weeks later. Chandler was arrested on February 22 for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, after pointing a gun at and threatening another victim in the Secret Cove subdivision in Lakeland. He's been in the Polk County Jail since that arrest, being held on no bond, while investigating the December 2022 shooting. Detectives developed probable cause to charge Chandler with murder in the first victim's death. On December 17, 2022, a 33-year-old male was shot in the back on Pirates Way within the Secret Cove subdivision of Lakeland. He was transported to a local hospital in critical, but stable, condition. Detectives received tips from the community and were able to identify other victims and witnesses to the shooting, several of whom are documented gang members, including Ladarian Chandler. The victim, who belonged to a rival gang of Chandler's, succumbed to his injuries on January 9, 2023. Chandler was arrested for the February 22 aggravated assault incident at an apartment where he lives on Pirates Way, which is near both crime scenes, the fatal shooting, and the aggravated assault. Detectives served a search warrant in the apartment and discovered ammunition in a black duffel bag. Chandler was convicted of 3 felonies as a juvenile, for fleeing to elude, grand theft of a motor vehicle, and vehicle burglary, and was additionally charged with convicted delinquent in possession of a firearm or ammunition, with a gang enhancement, which elevates the charge from a second-degree felony to a first-degree felony. Detectives also located a rap video on Chandler's social media pages where he talks about shooting someone in the back, details that had not been publicly released. Other rap songs on Chandler's social media pages include lyrics about always being armed and photos of himself holding firearms. Chandler is being held on no bond and has been charged with the following: first-degree murder, capital felony, convicted delinquent in possession of a firearm, F1, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, F3. We will pay $5,000 to recover the gun used in this homicide. Contact Heartland Crime Stoppers. We get the gun, and you get a whole lot of cash. Grady Judd, Sheriff.
March 31, 2023. 2 illegal immigrants from South America arrested for multiple vehicle burglaries and fraud. On March 29, 2023, Polk County Sheriff's Office detectives arrested 33-year-old Ricardo Guerra and 32-year-old Eduardo Rojas Astudillo for multiple vehicle burglaries, grand theft, fraud, and other charges. Both Guerra and Rojas Astudillo are Chilean citizens who are in the United States illegally. Hunt Fountain Park burglaries. On March 25, 2023, detectives began investigating 2 vehicle burglaries that occurred at Hunt Fountain Park, 2020 Duff Road, in Lakeland. An additional vehicle at the park was damaged from an attempted burglary as well. The suspects removed personal items, including credit and debit cards, from the vehicles. The burglaries occurred while the victims were attending youth sporting events at the park. The victims received multiple notifications from their financial institutions alerting them to fraudulent activity associated with the stolen credit and debit cards while they were at the park, at which time they returned to their vehicles and found them damaged and/or burglarized. In the first burglary, 2 victims received multiple alerts of suspected fraudulent activity from their financial institutions. Detectives confirmed that a total of $4,994.19 was withdrawn. Using the stolen cards, and an additional $9,529.26 was attempted, but the transactions were declined. Another victim received alerts that someone attempted to withdraw $6,669.63 from different credit and debit cards. When the victim checked, all of the fraudulently used cards were still in her wallet. However, $957 in cash was taken from her car. Another victim whose car was parked in the lot reported damage to her driver's side keyhole, but nothing from within her vehicle was missing. Lake Parker Park burglary. During the investigation, detectives learned that the Lakeland Police Department was investigating a similar vehicle burglary by the same suspects at the Lake Parker Pavilion Park, 830 East Robson St., that also occurred on March 25. The suspects burglarized one vehicle and damaged a second vehicle in a failed attempt to break into it. PCSO detectives obtained video evidence at Lake Parker Park that identified a gray Dodge Durango as the suspect's vehicle. The video revealed 3 Hispanic males in the Durango the truck stopped beside a victim's vehicle and exited the Durango. 2 of the men appeared to be lookouts, while the third male entered the victim's vehicle. All 3 returned to the Durango and left the park. A total of 4 victims had personal items in the burglarized vehicle. The suspects attempted to withdraw a total of $13,200.66 from the victims' credit and debit cards. The attempted transactions were declined by the financial institutions. Also stolen from the vehicle was $795 in cash. The Dodge Durango was determined to have been rented from Miami, Florida, and the vehicle information was disseminated to area law enforcement agencies. On March 29, the Haines City Police Department located the Durango at the Bank of America, 905 East Hinson Avenue, in Haines City. Officers confirmed the identities of the men in the Durango as Guerra Vergara and Rojas Astudillo. They were detained until PCSO detectives arrived. PCSO detectives showed both suspects a photo of themselves from the Lake Parker Pavilion Park security video. Rojas Astudillo admitted they were the men in the photo. Detectives also heard Guerra Vergara make the statements, "I was wearing a hat, so they can't tell it was me, and they can't prove anything, we returned all of the cards." Ricardo Guerra Vergara was charged with grand theft, F3, 3 counts. Vehicle burglary, F3, 3 counts. Attempted vehicle burglary, F3, 2 counts. Fraudulent use of credit cards, F3, 12 counts. Obtaining property by fraud, F3. Criminal use of personal identification, F3, 6 counts. Criminal mischief, F3, 2 counts. Traveling across county lines to commit a burglary, charge enhancement. He is currently in the Polk County Jail and being held on a $29,000 bond. Eduardo Rojas Astudillo was charged with grand theft, F3, 3 counts. Vehicle burglary, F3, 3 counts. Attempted vehicle burglary, F3, 2 counts. Fraudulent use of credit cards, F3, 12 counts. Obtaining property by fraud, F3. Criminal use of personal identification, F3, 6 counts. Criminal mischief, F3, 2 counts. Traveling across county lines to commit a burglary, charge enhancement. He is currently in the Polk County Jail and being held on a $29,000 bond. PCSO has confirmed with the Department of Homeland Security United States Border Patrol that both Guerra Vergara and Rojas Astudillo are in the United States illegally. The Department of Homeland Security has completed an immigration detainer for each of the suspects, and they are being held in the Polk County Jail with those detainers, in addition to their bond. Not only are these criminals in the country illegally, they are preying on the innocent citizens of Polk County. Because of the quick work by my detectives and the partnership we have with other law enforcement agencies, these 2 thieves are off the street and in jail where they belong. 2 key takeaways from this burglary trend are: don't leave your valuables in plain view when you leave your car parked at a sports field, dog park, or gym, where suspects know women are more likely to leave their purses. And make sure your bank offers fraud alerts. The victims who had that set up on their phones were immediately notified that their cards had been stolen or compromised, which made a huge difference in this investigation. Grady Judd, Sheriff.
March 20, 2023. Lake Wales drug dealer indicted for first-degree murder in fentanyl overdose death. A drug trafficking suspect who has been in jail since June 2022 as a result of an undercover drug trafficking investigation, 29-year-old Tevin Lindsay of Lake Wales was recently indicted by a Polk County grand jury for first-degree murder, a capital felony, and sale of fentanyl within 1,000 feet of a church, F1. In the death of a 23-year-old Ocala man who overdosed on fentanyl-laced heroin that Lindsay sold to him. On June 14, 2022, a witness called 911 to report the victim was unresponsive and had possibly overdosed on heroin in the city of Lake Alfred. The Lake Alfred Police Department and Polk Fire Rescue personnel responded to the house, and the victim was transported to an area hospital where he was declared deceased from a suspected drug overdose. The Lake Alfred Police Department requested PCSO to assume the investigation. During the investigation, PCSO detectives learned the victim and witness had purchased what they thought was heroin from Lindsay. A sample of the drugs sold to the victim was found at the scene. Detectives sent the sample to the FDLE lab for testing, and the lab results confirmed that the drugs sold by Lindsay to the victim were cocaine and fentanyl. During the autopsy and toxicological analysis of the victim's blood, an elevated concentration of fentanyl that was too high for a human to survive was present. The medical examiner determined that the victim died as a result of multiple drug toxicity. On October 24, 2022, Lindsay confessed to selling heroin to the victim and witness during the early morning hours of June 14. Tevin Lindsay has been in the Polk County Jail since June 16, 2022. On the following charges: sale of fentanyl within 1,000 feet of a church, F1. Trafficking in heroin, F1. Trafficking in cocaine, F1. Trafficking in ecstasy, F1. Trafficking in amphetamine, F1. Possession of fentanyl with intent to sell, F2, 2 counts. Use of a firearm during a felony, F2. Possession of a structure to traffic drugs, F3. Possession of ecstasy, F3. Unlawful use of a two-way device, F3. Possession of marijuana over 20 grams, F3. Possession of drug paraphernalia, M1, 3 counts. Driving with a suspended license, M2. After the grand jury indictment, PCSO detectives additionally charged Lindsay with capital first-degree murder and sale of fentanyl within 1,000 feet of a church. Lindsay's previous criminal history includes 17 felonies and 4 misdemeanors for charges of armed robbery, aggravated assault, aggravated battery, resisting arrest, violation of probation, trespassing, and loitering. The fentanyl crisis in this country is real and it is killing thousands of people. When we investigate deaths caused by a drug overdose, we do everything within our power to hold those drug dealers who peddle poison responsible. Thanks to the hard work of my detectives and State Attorney Brian Haas and his prosecutors, this murderer should be in prison for the rest of his life. Grady Judd, Sheriff. Equality before the law, also known as equality under the law. Equality in the eyes of the law, legal equality, or legal egalitarianism, is the principle that all people must be equally protected by the law. The rule of law is a political ideal that all citizens and institutions within a country, state, or community are accountable to the same laws, including lawmakers and leaders. It is sometimes stated simply as no one is above the law.